A divorce in Texas is a dissolution of a marriage. It's actually called a dissolution in the family code. It's different from an annulment. It is separate from a custody case, but if there are kids, there must be a custody case as part of the divorce. Texas does not bifurcate divorce, like property division from a child custody thing. It's all together in one. If there are kids, the property and the kid issues are all going to be decided in the divorce, in the dissolution process. Texas is a no-fault state, so the typical ground for divorce in Texas is what we call insupportability. Insupportability basically says things are not working out, and the whole point of a marriage is to have this end result, and we're not having that end result. The marriage is harder than it has to be. There's discord of personalities that make the legitimate purpose of the marriage insupportable. Doesn't work. You can have fault in the marriage, so a party can claim fault. So something like adultery, cruel treatment, those are the two that we see the most. But you can also have lesser used faults like fraud as a purpose to get a divorce. But you don't have to claim that. A lot of times we don't claim, any particular reason. We just say insupportability. But ultimately, if you want a divorce, you can have one. The court's not going to make you stay married to someone you don't want to be married to. Depending on what fault you claim, you could say, for example, the other party committed adultery. That may not have any bearing on your divorce because you're going to get divorced anyway. All you have to do is say, I don't want to be married anymore. That's plenty. But if you do claim adultery, or you claim fraud, or you claim cruel treatment, it may help you leverage a more favorable property division. And depending on the cruel treatment or something like that, it may help you on the custody aspects if you have kids. As far as the duration of a Texas divorce, it is common for Texas divorce to take a year. The minimum, generally speaking, is 61 days, 60 days after the date of filing. So that's the statutory minimum wait period. I know some states require like 6 months or a year of separation. Texas doesn't have that. 60 days after the date of filing is the minimum statutory wait time. That could be waived. You could get a shorter wait time if the court believes that family violence has happened and the court agrees and lets you have a shorter period. But generally speaking, 61 days is the minimum. The average divorce in Texas takes between 15 and 18 months. Ours typically is in the 10 to 12 month range. And there's lots of reasons why you might want more or less time in a divorce. You can get a divorce in Texas if one spouse doesn't agree. And in fact, we often find that is the case. One spouse, typically, when people file a divorce, they've been thinking about it for at least 2 years. Most people who file a divorce have been thinking about it for at least 2 years. That doesn't mean their spouse has been thinking about it for 2 years. We often find the person comes in, they're ready to file a divorce, the other spouse gets served with divorce papers and they're completely surprised, like they didn't see it coming. So one spouse has been miserable, the other spouse is completely oblivious to that misery. So the other spouse may be resistant and they'll want counseling, and now they're trying to go to see a marriage counselor. They're trying to bring their pastor in. They're trying to find some way to force saving the marriage. But the court ultimately is never going to order a party to stay married to someone they don't want to be married to. I mean, ultimately, I think it's a constitutional right to not be in a relationship you don't want to be in. I think it almost sounds like, it's almost like slavery. If you require someone to stay married to someone they don't want to be married to, it's like forced labor without compensation. I don't think you can do that, and the courts never do. But the real key here is if someone doesn't want to be married to you, Why would you want to force them to stay married to you? Why would you want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you?